Good morning and welcome to another episode of Strictly Healthy. So this morning we will be talking about personal branding, the importance of personal branding, and why it's helpful for social media and various other bits. And we have a special guest, and you may have seen my bit of photo shoot done recently and the product of that. Well, I have Rosie Parsons in today, who will be talking to us about personal branding and how she got into photography, etc. So I just want to welcome you, Rosie, today. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Very nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's all very exciting. I've really enjoyed my experience with you recently, which was, I think, a couple of weeks ago now, nearly.
Yeah.
So I thought this is a lady I need to meet and to talk with, because I really like the fact that your personal branding, to me, it speaks to me because I love color, and you seem to really like vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say, I first got into sort of doing the sort of personal branding and bringing in the color at the beginning of the first lockdown. And because initially I kind of always I didn't really have a very strong personal brand. I kind of got a lot of work through like networking in person and just photograph whoever asked me to, really. And I'd sort of work for a few magazines and photograph everybody. But when lockdown happened, all my work dried up because I wasn't going to networking meetings anymore. I was like, panic. I decided I've not got anything to lose. I don't have any work in anyway. So I decided to rebrand and have a bit of fun with it, and just let my personality come out a bit more, let my weirdness out, and just, if it didn't resonate with anyone, then that's fine, because I haven't really lost anything. But as it happened, there's lots of other color-loving kind of weirdos out there, just like me.
Well, I really like color because I think it makes you more positive. It makes you more lively. It just upbeats you a little bit, it makes things more exciting. And well, I was just curious, you mentioned about lockdown, etc. I know you said you were doing your sort of personal rebranding, if you like, but were you able to do any work, like even online or anything like that?
So I was renovating my house at the same time, and the plan was always to sort of start doing shoots here. But the good thing about lockdown, because I was working with women in business, I was actually allowed to keep working during lockdown. I was photographing people outside. I'd often travel up to Bristol and photograph people in the streets where there's lots of colourful houses. And because it was business to business and people were allowed to sort of do that, I was allowed to keep working, which was really good, because for a lot of photographers, like family photographers, wedding photographers, obviously weren't allowed to work. So I was very fortunate that I was able to keep working throughout a lot of lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic that you're able to do that, actually. Working with women. Now, you mentioned about not wanting to do weddings, and that was there a particular reason why you sort of changed or didn't want to switch from that?
Yeah, well, it's twofold, really, because I've got triplets who are 8 now and a 6-year-old. And so
I didn't know you had triplets. You never told me that. Wow, that is amazing.
So when I was doing wedding photography right up until I got pregnant with them, and then I was getting, it was huge. So it was, a lot of photographers can still work up until quite late with being pregnant, but no, that was crazy. And actually, wedding photography is very stressful. I have a lot of respect for wedding photographers, and what they do is, constantly changing. And when you're dealing, you can be very, very good, but you can if you're dealing with bad weather and things, and other people having a bad day, if other things in the wedding go wrong, then you've kind of still got to make it look amazing and everyone happy. And it's just stressful. And obviously it's somebody's wedding day. It's the photos are incredibly important, which they are for personal branding, but should the worst happen, should the camera fail or there's a computer malfunction, it's just, it can be reshot, whereas a wedding day can't. And it's just I don't deal very well with stress. So it's,
I think brides can be some of the most stressful people too,
Yeah.
because they want everything to be perfect. They want everything to look good on the day. They don't want anything to go wrong. So, and
Yeah.
you know, they could probably have a few meltdowns, etc. Couldn't they?
Exactly. Yeah. And when it all goes really well, then it's a lovely, lovely job. It's sunny and the bride's chill, and that's great. But you know, it's sometimes it's just it doesn't always go that way. So yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, like doing personal branding photography is great because I get like a lot of my friends have their own businesses, and I love hanging out with women that are doing interesting, disruptive things. You know, changing, like living life on their own terms and in control of their own destiny. And yeah, I find it very interesting hearing about other people's like businesses. So I really enjoy like not only photographing them but hanging out with them. And so that's what the whole experience is like having fun for the day. As you know, it's like we had a good laugh, didn't we? And,
we did.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely experience. So yeah, before we talk about that, you know, about how you actually set up what you've set up, this whole brand photography experience, VIP, I think you call it, VIP experience. I just want to find out if you could share with us some information about personal branding. Why is it important for social media and helpful in that regard?
Yeah, well, like now that we're like so many people doing business online, and especially as a service-based business, it's incredibly important to get your personality across, because people buy from you if they like you. If you're a faceless kind of brand, you just got a company name, you don't show yourself, then people are gonna, you know, they're not going to feel attached and interested. And so it's really important to kind of show up and kind of get your personality across in your photos. And not everyone's going to like it, but that's not the point. Like with personal branding, you want to curate a personal brand that kind of attracts and repels. So you want to attract your dream clients and repel ones that you wouldn't like to work with. You don't want to try and appeal to everybody. So, like my photos aren't right fit for everybody, and that's fine, because you know I want to kind of specialize in one sort of area, and people kind of you should always like try and find a photographer, for example, that kind of already does what you really like and you can imagine being in those photos. And it's the same with your personal brand. You want to get across your personality and attract people who will like you. You don't want to kind of pretend to be somebody else or not give strong opinions. Like, just let yourself shine so that the right people can be attracted to you.
Yes. Well, I really enjoyed my experience with you the other day. It was fantastic. I mean, right from the get-go, I must say that I was really impressed with the communication beforehand, even before the actual experience started. I was really impressed with that, because, you know, you gave us ideas about what colors we could look for, you know, how we could prepare ourselves for the actual day and the event. So I was impressed by that. I didn't read everything because I didn't always have time, but I was quite impressed by the communications.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, so you get different types of people. Some people, like me, I'm not like a detail person. I like go with the flow. I'm quite chill. And then other people really want to know all the details. And so I created an email system which has like got lots of information, and it's not essential that everybody reads it. Like you didn't read it all and you still had a great time. But if somebody is really detail orientated and they want to kind of really understand what's going to happen, then they're going to get that information through and they can enjoy reading it and really understand what's going to happen in the process and stuff. But if somebody's more chilled out and just goes with the flow, then they don't have to read it. It's not essential. So
well, me, unfortunately, I didn't read it all, but I got there in the end anyway with the But so I just want to sort of break down a little bit about the experience itself. How or why did you come up with that concept? Did you see it anywhere else, or you know, how did this develop the whole experience? And we'll talk a little bit about the various steps of it as well, too.
Yeah, sure. No, I haven't seen it done anywhere else. And actually, I try not to look at what other photographers are doing. I find it's a bit distracting, and I'll look at other industries. I just kind of keep my own lane. And basically, well, I started doing photos here initially, and then it's just kind of grown, and I'm constantly always thinking, how can I improve my service? Like, how can I make this a better experience? So like each time, I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people's businesses. Like if you have a client in and you just like have a think about, how did it go afterwards? Could I have done anything better? Would anything else have helped? And so over time, I've just constantly refining this kind of the process and making changes. And and I just felt like it would be a nicer experience to kind of have like food and the music playing and stuff. And then that's when I started incorporating it into my forms before people come in, and asking them like, what music do you really enjoy listening to? So we could have that playing. And it's quite nice because a lot of people will fill out the form months before their shoot, and then they'll come and they'll forget that they told me, and they'll be like, oh, I love this playlist. And it's you've like made it especially. And the same with the food. We like check if there's any like requirements. So we make sure that you're vegan or you're allergic to something, anything that there's food that you really like having, and your favorite drinks are in and stuff. So that you feel like you're being looked after. And I think like I've been photographed a few times by different photographers, and it's even things like, if the studio's cold and you're feeling a bit anxious, that can really affect how the photos come out. So I try and make people feel relaxed, so that by the time they get in front of the camera, they're like feeling happy, content, and having a nice time. And then that comes across in the photos, and it's a nicer experience for everybody as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So just talk to me, or break down the steps that you've put in place for the experience itself. Because I know when I arrived, right away you offered food, I think it was. Can you just talk through the various steps that that you have put in place?
Sure. So we have like this sort of like the welcome sequence when people book in initially, and that's kind of like with the form that they can tell me about themselves and their brand colors and what colors they love, and so we can make sure that on the day it's all set up, and we even like people come from London and all around the UK for like to see me for these kind of photos. So I can go and pick them up from the train station and stuff. They fill out all of that. So either people will turn up, like if they're driving, they'll turn up at the door, or I'll go and collect them from the station. And then we like have a quick sit down and have some breakfast together just when they arrive, so that they can kind of decompress a little bit from their journey, have something nice to drink before. So yes, a lot of people go for sort of having hair and makeup. So I'm doing that as an optional extra now. And so people can either kind of like do their own hair and makeup, or if they want, I can book in a hair and makeup artist for them. And then so that starts happening. We've got the music going, and then once that's done, I've set up in my living room, and it's all open plan, so it's nice because it's all in my house, so it does feel like a homely, relaxed kind of feel. And I set up the studio in the living room, and then we're looking at all the different clothes that the clients brought, and we're trying to pick out the colors in the clothes in the backgrounds as well as the brand colors. And then we just keep changing up the backgrounds, changing up the outfits, and of course I forgot to mention also we do always have a nice little glass of prosecco, but non-alcoholic. But that's always like a nice little thing as well, just to like, a lot of people come for their shoot to celebrate something, either they're launching a book or they're rebranding or something. So we try and make the shoot a celebration. It's nice.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I like that you care about people too, in that, with the Prosecco even, you made it non-alcoholic because you're aware that, people might have to drive or whatever. So, you've thought about that aspect of it. So you still get the idea of the fizz and the fun of it, but it's non-alcoholic.
Also, some people, like, for whatever reason, are teetotal as well. We've had quite a few people kind of say, oh, I can't have any. And I say, it's okay, it's non-alcoholic. And they're like, oh, great. And that's really nice because like if you don't drink, then you don't often kind of get a nice little thing of fizz. So it works out much better to have it non-alcoholic. And it doesn't need to be alcoholic to have the kind of special kind of feeling from it.
Not necessarily, no. Maybe in the evening later on, if you were doing an evening shoot, possibly. If they didn't have far to go, they could walk or take a YouTube an Uber or something.
But
Where did I get that idea from? I don't know.
But yeah, you're right. Like I do care about the women that come in and see me. Like that's the whole thing. Like I kind of hope
switched to my glasses now.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah,
everybody really liked those.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying about the women that come to see you.
Yeah. I like to feel like I'm going to end up being friends with the women that come in, and like I genuinely care about people that come in, and I want them to have a great time and leave feeling great about themselves. And so yeah, it's nice.
Yes, yeah, I thought it was a really, really fantastic experience. I felt special. I felt like a VIP, you know. The other ladies that were there as well, you know, they contributed to the whole thing from, you know, doing the makeup.
It's really nice. I've got the team, so I've got like Liz doing hair and makeup, and I use other makeup artists sometimes as well. And then I've got Caitlin, who helps me behind the scenes doing all the social media kind of thing as well. So it's nice because it does feel like a bit of a party. It's, you know, it's fun.
That really, really added to it. Yeah. So who specifically, in terms of clients, are you looking for or who is this best suited for, really?
Yeah, so I work with probably some of the most successful women in business, because it is a very it's a pampered day. It's not a quick headshot at all. It's people that are kind of like willing to invest in themselves and willing to be seen. People who are quite playful and love color. And yeah, I'd say like either running their own business or pretty high up in another business, where like a lot of thought leaders, where they need to be out in the media. They need to have a lot of like photos because they're constantly being like giving thoughts and, you know, commenting on things, and they need photos for that. And then using it across their websites and stuff. So people that are willing to be visible and invest in themselves and to be seen. And also it's really important that people like themselves as well. You know, it's very, well, it's just tricky. Like you want people to come in and, you know, they're going to like have a lovely experience, but it's really important that they are comfortable in their body and just like, that they kind of like, that they like themselves. And you don't have to, you can be a little bit camera shy, but I'd say people that are kind of happy to be visible, I'd say.
Yeah, so that can be a hard thing, especially dealing with women, because we're really critical on ourselves. You know, and we're not always the size that we want to be either. And so how do you help women feel comfortable and compensate for some of that in your photography?
I do I do photograph with flattering kind of like lenses, and I use nice kind of poses and things that are flattering. But it is ultimately, people do have to do a lot of the work in terms of accepting themselves like before the shoot as well. It is hard to photograph somebody that really hates how they look. Because even if you take beautiful photos of them, they're going to see themselves in a negative light. And that's kind of something I personally going to be like kind of reworking in my kind of message in my website, and just sort of saying that, like, I need, if you want to come and be photographed, I do need you to be in a good headspace with yourself, because it's heartbreaking really to see when people are like really self-critical. And, you know, they're lovely, lovely women. They've got nothing to be self-critical about. And it's obviously a lot of work that goes into the day. So I want people to like their photos at the end. And we can definitely be flattering and stuff like that. But I think a lot of the time, it's important to kind of like maybe focus on some self-work beforehand as well. And not necessarily think that the camera is going to be a complete magician, and kind of, if you don't like how you look right now and you really kind of like, no, I hate how I look right now, it's probably worth kind of working on that for a little bit and trying to kind of feel better and then coming in. But I mean, obviously we do like flattering clothes, and Photoshop can help a lot if there's any little lumps and bumps that we want smoothed out.
Sure. I'm sure. I think you did it for me as well a little bit on mine.
I don't know. I don't think we did. No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I thought they turned out quite well, actually.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, speaking of the results itself, how do you whittle? Because I know you take a ton of photographs. Like, I don't know how many you took of me, but I think you probably take about 300 to 500
yeah,
photographs.
right,
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
How do you help people whittle things down to things that actually work?
I've got a really nice process. It's very quick. We do it on the same day as the shoot, so that it's fresh, and it means you get the photos back really nice and quickly. Plus, you've got me sitting with you, which is good because a lot of people can be like umming and ahhing and not really sure. And it's good to have me as an outside perspective, because when you're looking at photos of yourself, you're going to be looking at them in a different way than a client would. So it's quite good for me as a fresh pair of eyes to look, well, say like, oh, you look very friendly in that one, I reach out and approach you with that one, whereas that one you're looking, a bit too serious. And it's good, like, so we kind of go through them together. I don't pressurize people. People can like buy however many they want to, but it's quite good. We kind of go through and put them into piles of yes and no, and then we can look at all the similar ones together, and decide like which ones out of the similar ones, which are the best. And then we've got like the final, say like, 25, 30. And then it's quite easy to sort of see them as a selection, like how do they work together? Which are your favorites? And it's quite a nice, quick process.
Yes. Now, I'm just wondering, because you mentioned about, some women, they don't have the confidence, even though they're high-powered women and they're working in maybe some large corporations and successful businesses, etc. Are you also thinking of maybe doing a bit of charity work and helping maybe those that don't have the confidence, and maybe doing a mini thing for them? Have you ever thought of that possibly?
Well, I think I'd have to take it on a case-by-case basis, really. So, because as a single mum of like triplets and a little one, and then I've got staff to pay. Like, I need to like make sure they get working first. But if the right charity work came up, then potentially. But I think it depends. I mean, I don't think that I'm necessarily the right kind of person to like do like the mindset work in terms of like, if you're feeling really negative about yourself, I think, there's probably really good coaches and stuff to go and see before that. But no
worries. I was just curious as to whether that might be something you might think about. So what are your future plans then for what direction do you want to go in, or where would you like to see yourself in, say, 5 years or so? Sounds like an interview question. Like a job interview question.
No, that's fine. I was actually talking to Caitlin this morning about that very thing, and we'd like to get into doing sort of more magazine photography as well. And maybe more celebrity work as well, but keep doing the women in business, but just start photographing more celebrity women in business as well, and sort of do some stuff for magazines. So I'm hoping to sort of start doing a bit of that, maybe like going back and forth to London a little bit. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, they'll certainly, more travel is opened up now, so there's the opportunity. Yes. Anything final that you wanted to say or share?
Not really. I was just very impressed with all your live stuff during our shoot. I thought that was very good, and I definitely need to be doing that myself. That was brilliant. So you've inspired me.
Yes. And I've been following you and some of the clips on Instagram and various other social media bits. I think it's fantastic. It's a real showcase, a real showpiece.
Thanks. Well, Caitlin's brilliant at sort of capturing all the funny little behind the scenes moments and then editing them together so that we can showcase what we do here. And she's great. She's listening right now. Got to be very nice.
She's right there. No, your team, the team are fantastic. I really had a good time with them. Everybody seems to gel really well together. And they all seem to know what to do as well, in terms of getting the person to feel special, as well as to get the best out of them as well.
Definitely.
And get them more animated, I think. Which can be hard, I'm sure.
Sometimes we can be very silly, but it kind of makes people laugh. So that's the main thing. We get nice get the people laughing, and then like the moments after when they're just like got a natural smile as well. So it's good.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Rosie. That was fantastic. It was great. I really had a nice time talking to you.
Yeah,
And yeah, we will get this message out to more women, and we'll see more women in vibrant, beautiful colors looking their absolute best.
Yeah, brilliant. Lovely to chat to you, Linda, and thanks for having me on.
With you. No problem at all. We'll chat soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Again.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. That was Rosie Parsons sharing with us her special branding photography and sharing tips about why we need that with because as it helps with social media. So I'm pleased that you could really join us today, and hopefully you can join us next time, same space. Bye for now.